and we are still suffer for it. For how long? You can't be continuing like this in this country. This is out of hand. Please, my only plea to the government is that maybe they should find something to do about this before this thing gets out of hand.
While fuel scarcity in the past has often revolved around increased pump price or subsidy removal, the latest scarcity biting Nigerians' heart says a new entrant adulterated fuel. Anu Akomalafe, Impact Business Radio News.
Okay, Anu Akomalafe there. As I said, it's not a one-off thing. We've been going to town interacting with the people. It is not funny at all. It is not, I must tell you. Taiwo Olariwaju was in town. Okay, also, this is what he brought back. Listen to Taiwo Olariwaju here.
Residents of Ibadan have continued to lament the hike in the pump price of petrol and scarcity of the commodity. In a move round town, Impact News crew observed that while many fuel stations sell at 162 naira, which is the official rate, the situation is not so in some other fuel stations, as fuel prices are between 180 naira and 200 naira per litre. Speaking with IBR's correspondent, Adesina Olawale, who is a civil servant, said the scarcity is adversely affecting the daily activities of the people. He called on the Oyo State government to expedite action towards considering the lingering fuel scarcity.
While it has affected me in every area of my business and movement. I think I've been here now for about maybe 45 minutes, and on this road from Idiakwe to Akobo is only this filling station that has fuel. It has affected everything. That's adversely, it has affected everything. So the government will have to do something, I mean, as a matter of priority to remove this fuel problem.
Also, a concerned citizen, Adewi Fumbi, described the scarcity of fuel as unfortunate, adding that the right steps must be carried out. Adewi called for a more transparent and accountable governance, adding that this will strengthen the trust of the people in the present administration.
So unfortunate that in Nigeria up until now we are still finding ourselves in this kind of mess, because I will call it a mess because I never thought we are going to go back to a time where we have to queue down to buy fuel. And over the years, they've always been talking about subsidy, removal of subsidy, and stuff like that. I think we should find a permanent situation, a permanent solution rather, to the issue, to the problem that is being caused by fuel scarcity. Recently, I think what caused this is about a substandard of fuel that was imported into the country. Who are the people responsible for such things? These people should be brought into to account. They should be accountable for this kind of mess, because not only as this really shows how incompetent they are, it has also tell us that Nigeria is not ready to develop.
A commercial motorcyclist, Ayinde Adewale, lamented the fuel scarcity and how it has affected his business. He advised the federal government to do everything possible to put a stop to the situation.
Hearing that the government will increase the price of fuel due to the removal of subsidy on petrol. But now look at this, we are suffering a lot now to get fuel. We consumers, as we bike riders, as well as others that are using motorists and others. Look at it very well. So if the government wants to remove the subsidy, and then if that one will be the solution to the problem on ground, I think I will advise them to find means of getting this thing done as early as possible, because now what we are facing now is
You heard Nigerians there. Amidst all of this, those who are in charge of supplying electricity are not living up to expectation, and so you can only imagine what the pains and the suffering of the people look like. I'm being joined on the program this afternoon by a public policy expert. He is Mr. Promise. He is okay, it's good to have you. Good afternoon, Promise.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you on the program. So, can you help make a sense out of what is happening in Nigeria today? Economic activities, have been paralyzed, and where people manage to make both ends meet it's on the high side. Okay, Nigerians must move from one point to another, but as we speak, it is very, very difficult. So, can you make a sense out of all of this happening?
You know, the thing is, it's almost very, very difficult to make a sense of anything happening in this country. And that's the challenge that we are facing. Because when we should be talking about moving ahead, when serious countries of the world are talking about innovations, renewable energy sources, we are still stuck with this cycle of fuel scarcity and all that. And then it's also very sad that this is happening to a country that has no business being in this mess. And so when you're trying to make a sense of it, honestly, there is no sense anywhere.
You can't fathom it.
You can't fathom what we are in and what we should not even be anywhere close to. You know, just like I like breaking things down to the things around us. And I just imagine going to my village, for instance, where we plant a lot of cassava. And then I realized that there is no gari in the city, in the village. And it's so expensive.
Has it ever happened?
You know, it would be a shame if it does. And I don't think I've ever seen that happen. Let's take for instance Irua. I mean, it's one of the communities in your state with a lot of cassava plantation and all that. You see them with the truckloads exporting to the big cities and all that. And then you get to Irua tomorrow, all those people selling gari by the roadside are no longer there. Meanwhile, you keep seeing truckloads of cassava being offloaded everywhere. That is a kind of picture of where we have found ourselves in. And people keep blaming this present administration. And I think we should stop playing this blame game. I think that is what has transpired over the course of the years.
Okay, the grounds of the people, you would not want the incumbent government to be blamed.
No, I'm going to somewhere.
Okay.
I'm trying to pick out the fact that we've had a systematic rot over the years. And until we fix it, we'll keep on blaming subsequent leaders. And so when we try to make a sense of what is happening, you can't make a sense of it because we are standing on a very corrupt, on a very faulty foundation, and we are not tackling the challenge where it should be coming from. We are not even facing the angle. I mean, when one of the respondents was talking about who imported the bad fuel and all that, he made mention of something. He said, who is taking responsibility for this? If people realize that when we do things in this country, there are consequences, they can't just get away with it. They will think twice before they do things. And so what we have been having is the blame game keeps shifting to the point that even those who imported the so-called fuel are saying that what they imported, that by the time they checked it over there and here, that it passed the test.
Okay, so the people must at every point in time know the cause or the causes of their problem.
And
it started with, all of this narrative started with the importation of the off-spec petrol. And so a cross-section of Nigerians would rather want some eggs to roll. That is yet to happen. We see blame game, okay, between NNPC and some marketers. The narrative out there before this time is that NNPC is solely responsible for the importation of fuel. NNPC never came out to say, no, we are not the only one. Now you have all of this because Nigerians are still grappling with knowing the root cause of this. Have you been able to sit down? Do you have any comprehension of what the problem is or how it started?
Just like I said earlier, it started, and I think it's as old as this country. That is one part. Now the second part is this: when people are not made to take responsibility for their actions, we should start holding people accountable. And I think that's what most Nigerians are listening for, to hear that so and so people, or so companies, or so marketers were responsible for importing this.
And that has not happened.
We have not had that, and it's sad that it may never happen.
It may never.
It may never. We are in a country where people get away with a whole lot of things. especially if they are highly placed. And if you start mentioning the names of these marketers, you realize that they are the top marketers in this country. And of course, they might, or not even they might, they have powerful backing. And when there is now this back and forth between them and NNPC, when they have come out, about 4 of them, to say that at the point of testing, that they had even completed their, depositing the bad fuel, and before they were called that, it didn't meet a particular specification. But there had been a test carried out.
Okay, promise. But this is the issue. We ought to have moved past all of this, isn't it? The off-spec petrol, okay, found its way into Nigerian market, and so Nigerians were told that it will take about 201 billion naira to clean up the mess and all that, and so we move on. I'm trying to trace the trajectory of the problem. So we moved away from, by now, okay, how many, what's the quantity we are talking of? Are we done with the off-spec petrol, okay, from circulation? Are we done with that, or are we still on that narrative?
No, when it happened, the first step they took was to recall. And even before they started recalling, a lot of people have bought this bad fuel. There were even allegations or insinuations that people were planning to sue these petrol stations and all that because it spoiled vehicles. I know of so many people that had to spend thousands of naira to fix their vehicles as a result of the bad fuel they purchased. Now that's on one part. Who is going to compensate these people? These people are angry, and they are rightfully angry. That's on one part. Now, when we also live in a country where you cannot track data. If you say they are withdrawing it, have they completely withdrawn it? Now,
are you in doubt?
No, I'm very much in doubt, and I have my reasons. Few days ago, they said very soon there is going to be fuel in circulation. They've imported social amounts, and just this morning, we are getting news that because of the crisis, the Ukraine, Russia, whatever, that some of the vehicles or the vessels bringing the products are stuck on the sea. So it gives you that there's a disconnect from you having enough to mop up what was deficit to there's a seizure somewhere, or there's a blockade, or there's a delay coming in from somewhere. So you find it difficult to piece the two information together to know if we are actually going to be hopeful, because what we had this morning made it look like this is going to continue for a while, because we don't know how far the vessel is to get into Nigeria.
Russia is not close,
and Russia is not close. So if that is the case, how long are Nigerians going to wait? And then you now see this back and forth between Ipman and Nupen. All of them these ones are saying we are going to track those who are selling above the pump price. Now this ones are saying that we're even getting it at 190. So there's no way we sell at 162. So there's a whole lot of arguments and counter arguments here and there. And in the midst of this whole thing, the Minister of Petroleum is Mr. President. What is Mr. President saying? Has he come out to address the nation?
Is there to speak
on what is going on?
You've not heard the president speak.
I've not heard him.
When Timmy Silva speaks, isn't it the president that is speaking?
Timmy Silva is the Minister of State
for Petroleum.
And of course, ordinarily, his word is supposed to mean something. But if there's a Minister of State, I will have the major minister, who is the president himself, who is also sitting there on the economic table of the country, because right now the economy is down. So you expect the president not to shift this discussion to the Minister of State. We expect him to say something.
Okay, so you recall, Promise, that at a point in time the International Monetary Fund actually suggested that Nigeria should remove subsidy. Nigerians protested, and so the federal government had to reverse itself. Okay, it actually started that way, and the next thing before people could say Jack Robinson was this issue, the Ula Balu, as regards the importation of off-spec petrol into the Nigerian market. Do you think there is any link? Because IMF has not stopped talking. Even as at yesterday, there was a report released over the weekend, okay, by IMF, do you think there is a correlation between the advice given by IMF at that time and this that is happening?
Now, there is an...
the government, don't forget,
yes.
the government had pegged June 2022 for implementation until Nigerians complained, okay? Civil society organizations came out threatening, to mobilize and all that. So the government had to revert itself. So it was not as if the government was not well disposed. The government had wanted to listen to IMF, but the reaction of Nigerians, do you think there's any correlation between this that is happening with the advice, of IMF? Is there anything IMF has seen that Nigerians didn't see a few weeks back or a month back when it gave this advice?
Now, there's it's a two-way thing. Now, the removal of first subsidy as advised by IMF, which we shouldn't ordinarily be even talking about in the first place. We can only talk about removal of first subsidy because we are still importing. If we were to refine our products here, we'll probably determine what the prices will be because it's locally done. But because we are importing it from outside the country, because people also need to know what fuel subsidy is all about, it comes at a higher price. The government pays a certain amount of money to bring it to a certain level so that people can have access to it, and that's the fuel subsidy. Now, economically, it is not good for the country. Now, that is a different scenario altogether to what is happening now. What we are facing is bad fuel was imported as we were told, and we don't know the quantity, because there's a whole lot of conspiracy theories now beginning to fly that if you go to the petrol stations now, people will say, if you want to increase this price, increase it. This suffering is getting too much. So it looks like
Nigerians are at that stage now. They don't care.
They don't care anymore.
Prices increase
and
now.
What they just want is the availability of the products. And so it looks like some people are saying perhaps this is a way that maybe this thing was not even a mistake. It was a way to create this scarcity and begin to condition the minds of Nigeria. When things like this begin to happen, different theories begin to come up, and most times I don't discharge theories anyhow, because sometimes there might be some element of truth in them.
In all of these flying around.
So they look like Nigerians are your mind is being conditioned that you can right now, even if it's coming at 250, as long as it's available, that we don't have to queue to get it. Nigerians with our elastic nature,
they will sit down to calculate or analyze what their problems are.
Right now, they just want. Right now, is it available? That's what most Nigerians want.
Okay, so we're talking of importation of off-spec petrol into the country. There are some filling stations that are dispensing this product. They are selling the product, and it's not just possible. You will see them rationally to say it's not possible for this off-spec product to have been sold by ghosts. So if we still have this off-spec petrol in circulation, who are the marketers that imported them? Where did they store this product? How come many of these popular filling stations are still selling at this time? And so that will make a rational being to feel maybe there is a conspiracy theory somewhere. You imported a bad product. People didn't see you, maybe 3-4 tankers at your filling station saying we are actually taking off this bad fuel. The only thing is that even when there was this rumor of off-spec importation, you were selling. Maybe not as much as you were before the crisis started. So how do you expect the people to believe that these major filling stations that they know have never stopped selling amidst this rumor of the off-spec importation?
And then we have to ask the question of what quality control mechanisms do we have in place? Because even before we start talking about off-spec fuel and all that, people go to petrol stations and they buy water. They buy water.
Even before the narrative of the off-spec.
Yes. You will see a vehicle having problem, and by the time they discover it's from the fuel, you realize that 50% of what is inside that fuel tank is water.
It happened in Abuja.
It
was discovered in just one filling station.
This thing is regular. People don't come out to say the things that they pass through. If you want to, I would advise you to bring a mechanic on radio one day and ask him, and you see people just go in there and they realize that it's water. How did water come in? Some of them are underground water because of the topography of where these petrol stations are located. And however, there is supposed to be a check every morning before the petrol station begins to dispense.
By who? By an official of the filling station.
And there's supposed to be what we call the monitoring officers. They're supposed to be those who are in charge of quality control. Do we have these people? Are they active? Now, before they start dispensing in the morning, they have this long pole they're supposed to insert to check for moisture. And good a thing, if there is moisture, they can always decant, because the fuel and water will not mix. So they can actually decant it and still sell. But they just wake up in the morning, whoever is supposed to do that doesn't do that, and then they continue selling. And who are the people who will bear the brunt? The vehicle users, the common man. The same way we are still the people. And we are right. How many times did we see any in a petrol station? You know, we say they are evacuating. Instead, we see them bringing more. Is it that they are bringing more to add to the one they have? They mix it more. Is there anything they added to the fuel to make it purify it?
There is one that is flying around now. Some marketers will tell you, oh, since this crisis started, we've had costs to buy three times. Okay, we've had costs to take delivery of this product just to meet the yearnings of the people. But they would complain that they had to buy, okay, at an exorbitant price.
Yes.
And as such, the price cannot be the regulated price. Now, then you begin to ask yourself.
Apparently, they say they are buying at 190. And so there's no way as against 148.
So they are buying. Is it that the product is still available for them to buy, or they are buying under a tight condition? Because you see some filling stations in the morning and maybe at night they sell this product. You ask yourself, you know, Nigerians are so inquisitive that they've been taking notes of some filling stations. So they ask, let's see when a tanker will come and offload this product. But they don't see. And that suggests that some of these filling stations that are claiming to have bought recently actually have this stock, you know, on the ground, but they don't want to, you know, dispense it. This propensity to maximize profit, which is in an average Nigerian or a black man, is coming to play. So how do you, there's so much confusion.
Yeah, there is. And you know, when I was reading up something some time ago about this whole thing, they were talking about their marketers who hoard fuel. That's another problem. So when you were asking me earlier to make a sense of it, and I said it's difficult to make a sense of it, is there's a gang up against the Nigerian people by the government.
A gang up?
Yes, and the gang up may not have been that they came around to say let's do this, but when every workings from all angles are directed to frustrate the people. Now we are dealing with fuel scarcity from the off-spec products. Now those who have it decided that this is the best time for them to make maximum profits, and so they decide to hoard the fuel. Now the same fuel you will not buy in a petrol station. You go to Sabo, for instance, you see young people carrying 5 liters, 3 liters. Where are they getting it from? They have a source where they're getting it from. So most times they sell at night, in the midnight. That's when they liaise with some of these petrol stations and buy, and then come by the roadside to sell.
I was told that in Ibadan, okay, a black market, 10 liters is sold for as high as 15,000 naira. Where do these ones get this product from?
That's exactly what I'm saying. In fact, in my office a couple of days ago, the guy that was asked to get fuel, he said that the only place he could get fuel is black market. 3 liters for 5,000. I said 3 liters. He said 3 liters. I said leave it and come back. Don't worry, wherever there is light we would use it, because if even 5 liters for 5,000 would have been crazy. let alone 3 liters. Are you sure what you are saying? He said yes. I said no. Perhaps you are trying to get extra money for something.
And black market.
And black market.
And promise you get to that market at any time. You get this product.
The product is there. So where are they getting it from? That's why I start talking about this gang up against the people.
But that is not the government. Again, this time around.
I'm saying at every point in time we are out to exploit any condition. Have you been in a serious traffic jam? The young man selling sachet water would increase the price immediately because it's in demand. And so when we at our little points decide that every adverse condition that would use it to rip off the next person, it turns around to haunt all of us.
Okay, the program you're listening to is Impact Point here on Impact Business Radio, Ibr 92.5 FM Ibadan. Please send your text message to 0905 221 3356. Let's know what you're going through. What does it look like in your area? 0905 221 3356. That is the number to send your text message to. You can call any of these numbers: 0916 104 7698, 0916 104 7698, or 0811 052 6487. These are numbers that we are used to, so let me read them out once again. 0916 104 7698, 0811 052 6487. Okay, these are the numbers to call to be part of the program. And of course, if you're an international audience, you can call in using +234 904 128 4528, +234 904 128 4528. Let's know what you're going through, what it looks like in your area. The only beneficiary of our refinery's existence on our books as assets are the politicians and militias who see the refineries as source of easy money. Collectively unpatriotic, they never considered that facing the truth that we have no refineries is the first step to sanity in this regard. Hayodele from Alakia sent that message. Okay, so talking about the solution, should we be talking about fixing the refineries like right about now? We've been talking of the rehabilitation of the Port Harcourt refinery for some time. Where are we on that? There are those who would love to call in on the program, but you would be shocked to know that their phone is not powered. It is that serious. So in the immediate, solving this problem, what should we be doing as a people? What should the government be doing?
Sometimes when you analyze the problem of this country, it looks like you're just on auto repeat, because you probably have to say the same thing over and over. We all know, every layman knows that the solution to this problem is when we have our refineries working optimally to the capacity they are supposed to work, and when we have ourselves getting the crude and refining locally. That's the panacea to this problem. As long as we keep importing, sometimes we have to deal with changes in international market prices that will also affect, and that's actually where the subsidy thing comes into play, when we have to now sit down and deal with the market forces of demand and supply, where government does not have to interfere. But for us to refine the products here, we cannot set our own price and then play the international politics of exportation. That is when we cannot benefit. Now, somebody was asking recently that given the increase right now because of the global crisis, it looks like the price of a petroleum product or crude oil is rising. I had last time it's on $100 or so. But the analysis is that it's not going to have any impact on us
as a country.
Yes, it won't, because it also means that the price of the refined product will also rise. So that means we also buy at a high price as long as we keep on importing. But if we are to refine our products within, luckily for us, for now, we have the capacity to crude oil that will serve this country. Now, if we refine from within and we are now selling at a higher price, like we are selling the crude oil with the current price that has risen, it would have been economic boost for us. But now it's not. So we must go back to that drawing board of understanding why over the years our refineries are still failing to work. Now all attention is on Dangote refinery, but we'd have to remember the fact that it's a private institution.
Okay, let's pick some calls. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, sir.
I am Prime Minister. Interestingly, I am calling from Ibr92.5FM in Ogun State.
Prime Minister from Ibr92.5FM, you're welcome, sir.
First of all, let me appreciate IBR and your personal effort with your team. You see what you have done this afternoon? Hello?
Go ahead, sir. We can hear you, sir.
So, your effort in going around the banner, Metropolis, to see what is on ground, is supposed to be the activity of government. Maybe I kudos for doing this. You have given us an on-ground assessment and what has happened. Look at it. The guest we have this afternoon, I'm sorry, sir. The guest has been doing very well, but he has come to push it to the area that we want to just, always try to cheat ourselves. This one is not about cheating, though. The truth is that all of us is gullible. All of us, I have no apology. Especially people of my own generation. We are so gullible. The unanointed prophet, Fela Amutajero, talked about my generation that we are suffering and smiling, and it's crossing to the new generation now. Because we are so gullible. Look at it. Mr. President, who is the so-called petroleum minister himself, has not made a comment. Let's see through idea, we like Mr. President to admit the state of nation to the people. Mr. President needs to talk to us and even give us at least some words to calm this. And honestly, look at the governor of the state. They are supposed to make a statement as we are talking right now. It is a clear call on the governor of your state and the governor of my own state in Ogun State. Right now, they are supposed to be talking to us. Look at the number of senators, federal reps, state and assembly members. Look at the so-called farms in Nigeria, the number of farms we are having. No farm is able to move federal government to court right now. Nobody is ready to. That means we are all gullible. And so we now go to solution. We don't need some kind of solution, or else everybody will go down. Commercial activity will die. So the short-term solution is number one. Federal government and state government must set up a task force. Let that task force enter the petrol station to affirm. These 3 million petrol stations is not having petrol. Most of them have the thing, they are holding it. They sell it the money they close it. They sell it the right process. And they sell to black marketers. So government must set up a task force. The second thing is that you now move to what is known as a close this black market. Close it immediately. So that you can have petrol in the petrol station. That's the let's put tracking right on every trailer that is moving to the finish. That's my objection for now. Thank you for having me. Honestly, it's bigger.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prime Minister, for your time on the program this afternoon. Okay. Oh, Prime Minister from Ibr92.5FM there. You can also be part of the program. Okay. You will recall that in the morning I talked about the fact that our engineers, okay, were working, and so the new lines are here. Let's get to hear from you. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Mr. Stephen Oyedele, you're welcome.
Thank you for the dedication that we brought to the studio. Yes, before the fuel scarcity, filling station has been sending allocated fuel with control water. That is wrong assumption from your guest. According to your guest, what are they tank up to? Is it government? This is a sign that no government in place. See, everything fancy in Nigeria. Because we own a food state. or somebody can get well. This is a sovereign state. Yeah, a sovereign state taking from the government. That's why I am the community. Anyone that got a kiss for the kids for the winner, he's going to be taken away. But I used to say that what is there? Yeah, so they polish and polish. People now. It's too bad.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Oyedele, for your time on the program. In case you're just joining us, this is Impact Point on Impact Business Radio, Ibr 92.5 FM. We're talking on the program this afternoon about the fuel crisis in the country at this time. How did we get here? Some filling stations are selling, but maybe in the morning and at night, and yet they have this product. You want to be part of the program? Tell us your own take on this development. What do you feel? How do you think this crisis can be resolved? Okay, we'll talk about the suggestion made by Primate Shitu from Ijebu. But in case you want to be part of the program, the numbers are 0916 104 7698. I call the number again, 0916 104 7698 or 0811 052 6487, 0811 052 6487. These are the numbers to call to be part of the program. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Anu.
Thank you so much, sir.
This is John Oladiwaju.
Okay, Mr. John Oladiwaju, you're welcome.
On the issue of cyber crisis we are facing now, actually what is happening or not, there are many filling stations are increasing the price, or some shut down selling it at night. I think it's not a new thing in Nigeria. That's how it used to be right from the beginning. So anytime we're having problem with prices like this, and to me, if there is any country that no step taking, no necessary step taking. They are the ones that are supposed to take a necessary step in whereby it's going to relieve the masses. They are just sitting down there collecting the money depends on the issue that is not even there for us.
Okay.
If they were here, wake up and discuss and make a debate on this issue and make a serious step, one step,
right,
to even call the presidency, the executive order, so that if the president is a minister of petroleum, what did he say?
All right.
Did he say anything? Did he talk?
Others are waiting.
What kind of answer assembly that we are having now?
All right.
Thank
you so much. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you. Ajanoku from Akbomu. Welcome, sir. Hello. Hello, Mr. Ajanoku. Are you there? Okay, Mr. Ajanoku from Akbomu in Osun State. Kindly call back. Once again, let me give the numbers. The numbers are 0916 104 7698, 0811 052 6487. Okay, Let's go to hear from Nigerians. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Anu.
Thank you so much, sir.
I'm following for Kopa.
Mr. Faladu, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I've been listening to your program. I cannot program to complete. That is becoming local. That is the reason why it's government. Okay, sir. Hello.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
That is becoming local. And see, what the question is, to read that our paper justice is a gun, that is not protect the nation. That is not the nation want to protect the nation. So I tell the government, government to solve this problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Falodun from Kumapai in Olodo here in Ibadan. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Falodun, for your time. Okay, there is a call here. Let's go to hear from this person. Okay, hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Oh, we could hear you. Okay, once you call in next time, just tell us your name and go ahead with your submission. It is time to give kudos to some petrol stations. They don't stress the people, and of course people are calling for national award for filling stations in this category. Okay, why not for the sake of for the fear of advertising? Okay, some brands I would have, because some names are actually attached. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Hello, you are on. Good afternoon. Okay, kindly call us back on the program. Promise, as we wrap up the program this afternoon. Okay, once you call in and I pick your call, you don't worry, just tell us your name and where you are calling from. Just tell us your name and where you are calling from. Okay, I'm just being told 0902-280-9257 is also used from the program, 0916-104-7698. So these are the numbers to call. You have many options to take, but promise, as we wrap up the program, Pranishiti, just like you said, observe that the president is yet to talk to Nigerians. How important and how urgent is it for Mr. President to talk to Nigerians? Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, go ahead. Promise.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
My name is Chief Balogun.
Okay.
Kajola.
Chief Balogun from Kajola, you're welcome.
Yeah. The solution to this problem is to open our refineries, either by the present government or the one that is coming to the government. Avoid them to open Nigeria refineries. That's the solution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Chief Balogun from Kajola here in Oyo State. Okay, so promise, we really need to wrap up. How important and how urgent is it for Mr. President as the substantive Minister of Petroleum to brief Nigerians?
Very important.
Very important.
Very important. But over the years, we've had situations where we waited for the president to address us, and unfortunately, by the time he did, we wished he never did, and we could all go back to the NSAS protest and all that. But I think beyond the president's address is the fact that, and I keep on saying it, people must be made to take responsibility for their actions. Those who imported the bad fuel, those who are holding the fuel, what are they facing? Now, if we find out that a particular petrol station, for instance, is holding the product, what are the consequences? Because people will keep on doing these things as long as there are no consequences. This is not the first time we are importing bad fuel into this country. As 1997 we had a case like that. In 2008 there was a case like that too. So the members of the House of Assembly, what are they doing? Are there very strong legislative acts?
Members of the National Assembly,
of the National Assembly, yes. Are there very strong legislative acts? Our Petroleum Industrial Act, how strong is it to be able to tackle something like this from happening subsequently? And then when we get these people who we claim are conniving with black marketers to deprive Nigerians, what are the consequences that they are going to face? And we cannot just all continue sitting down in our houses and complaining. We must begin to take actions.
Well, what exactly do you think Nigerians can do at this time?
I think one of the callers said something. He said by now you would have expected court injunctions or court actions or people taking up these things or suing some of these marketers. All the sons, according to him, are quiet, but we don't have to wait for the sons. We should know that even as ordinary Nigerians, we can actually take these people to court. People's vehicles were damaged. These people actually can sue these petrol stations. That's one point they can start. Then if by the time we start having 2, 3, 4, 500, 1,000 people going to court for this thing, it becomes a national emergency, and then people will be put on their toes, and then we can now wait and see what the president will say. But personally, despite the fact I wish he should address the nation, I am not optimistic that he's going to provide a workable solution.
Okay, I must say a big thank you to you, Mr. Promise.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Promise is a public policy expert. Thank you so much for your insight on the program this afternoon. Okay, we're going to call it a day here, but the truth of the matter is that Nigerians are going through a lot. Okay, Nigerians are going through a lot. Let's go on this commercial break. We'll be back on the program.
wo sórí ó ṣe jẹ́ lẹ́nu ni pé ẹni tó bá kọ́kọ́ sí gbòòrò ni ó ṣe pàtàkì kéèyàn wá nǹkan máa ṣe nítorí akitiyan ò lópin kó ọ̀hún sọ̀hún tààrà wá ṣe ń ṣe nǹkan nìyẹn súnkẹrẹ gbàkẹrẹ fẹ́ni tó bá ní nǹkan ṣe nítorí pé iwájú ọ̀pá ẹ̀bì tí ń lé sí kò sáyé fúnfà sẹ́yìn láéláé bá ṣe ń ṣe nǹkan nìyẹn torí náà báwo ló ṣe fẹ́ ṣe lónìí MTN.
All right, once again, Promise, thank you so much for your time on the program. This way we're going to call it a day, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone who's been part of the program. I'm sure that as we really reel out these numbers, you get used to them. I am Uluwakbo on Monday. Not a final bye. See you next time.
For the very best in qualitative and informative news with educative program on the go, tune in to